I'm graduating in May. Hey, hey. Oh my god. Welcome, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello. My name is Fisayo. I'm a second year MBA candidate at Arizona State University, soon to be graduate. If you're wondering what's written on my shirt, it's Arizona State United. It's a Christian campus ministries here at ASU. Anyways, for my MBA, I got a fully funded scholarship and I've shared about that. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you watch it after this video. I got a fully funded scholarship and I shared my process to getting that. So if you're on this journey and you want to see how you can get a fully funded scholarship for yourself, do watch that video after this one. Earlier this week, I got my cap, my tassel, and my stole. Yeah, and it finally dawned on me that I'm actually graduating. So I'm doing this video to just talk about my MBA journey, how I started, when I started my MBA, and key things that I find would be relevant to anyone who is going to be going on this journey as well. So stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. So I'll start from when I got my admit decision, which was in April. If you followed my journey, you see that I got 3 fully funded scholarships. So I had to choose between 3 schools. But I ended up choosing ASU and I'm so glad that I did. I went through quite an unforgettable experience trying to decide which school to go to. But I'm glad that I chose ASU. If you want to know why and how, just drop a comment. In fact, as you're watching this video, please watch with an open mind. If there's anything that I say that you need more clarity on that resonates with you, just as I'm talking, just be typing it down. I won't mind if you comment 5 or 10 times. Anyways, I won't mind. Just keep dropping your comments if there's any clarification or if there's anything you want me to touch more on as I speak. Just drop it in the comments, okay? That's how we do. Anyways, so after I got my admit decision in April, I waited to get my I-20 in order to process my visa, but it was in the heat of COVID. In fact, COVID just hit at that time. COVID hit in March, Nigeria specifically, and there was a lockdown. Embassies were closed, so I was just hoping and praying that, you know, they will open and I can travel before my program starts in August. May, June, no show. And then July, I decided to move back home to my parents. So in my past life, I was a consultant with PwC and I also ran a fashion business, Gracie Abbey. And so that had me move to the island because my parents stay far, like on the outskirts of town. So I moved closer to where my office was situated. But because I was waiting and we were working remotely, so I moved back home to be with my parents in July, hoping that the embassies will finally open and I can travel. I would say that moving back home in July of 2020 was one of the best decisions that I made in that year, because I don't know if I would have survived that year without being with my family. So backstory, I'd been away for 3 years. I had to move out of home to live closer to work because of distance. And in my mind, I thought that since my MBA is going to start in August, I would move back home probably like in June and spend a month with them and then travel to the United States mid-July to start my program in August. But it didn't happen that way because I didn't even know if I was going to travel or not. So as I was saying, my family was extremely supportive. Like there's no place like home really. Because of the erratic power supply, I remember my dad got like a UPS that, if you're not from an African country, you may not relate to this, but I needed to have power supply on my laptop just so that I can stay connected. I also needed Wi-Fi, right? So I had the UPS, I had the rechargeable light. So when NEPA goes off, like PHCN or the power generating company, when it goes off, I would have this rechargeable light that I can connect on top and then have power to see. Then in the evenings we put on the generators, but we couldn't put on the generator in the afternoon because we'd be disturbing the neighbors, right? And it was not even economical to have generator running throughout the day. And don't forget that my program started out remote. Arizona is 8 hours apart from Nigeria. So typically when classes starts by 8 a.m., it's 4 p.m. in Nigeria. And that was a different ball game entirely. So now let me even talk about my job. So remember that we had been working remotely since COVID hit in March. And ideally, I thought that I would have resigned in June, so that, you know, there's like a 1 month grace period that you'd have to put out to your employer just before you leave your job. And ideally, I thought I would have resigned in June because I would have gotten my visa, gotten ready to travel and all of that. But we were in July and there was no even hope that the embassies were going to be opened. And I was in sort of a conundrum because I was not sure if I was eventually going to travel. I didn't know what to do about my job. I was like, the experience was going to be remote. Would I be able to combine it with my job? Should I resign? Like, it was a dilemma, a huge dilemma, especially because there was some statement by the Department of Homeland Security about students who were coming to the United States, and if they couldn't get in at a particular date, I think the first time it was in October. No, if I remember correctly, I think it was October. If you can't get in October, you'd have to defer to the next year. And then I'm just thinking, if I resign my job and go and start, and then the embassy doesn't open, and I have to defer to next year, would I now come back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to resign, or what? Like, it was so tough. It was so tough. But somehow I spoke to a couple of people and I decided that I would go off for a while. So I took an unpaid leave from when my program started in August. So I took unpaid leave like throughout the entire semester, just so that at least I still have my job just in case I need to come back. And I'll not have to worry if my travel plans do not work out. So anyways, when my program started in August, I took time off and I was not working, so I started my program fully remotely. Nigeria is 8 hours apart from Arizona, and so most of my classes started, in fact in my first year I had 8 a.m. classes every day except on Fridays. So 8 a.m. Arizona time is 4 p.m. Nigeria time. So my day typically starts around 4 p.m. for school, and then classes will run till about midnight, and then we might have meetings and I'll have assignments and all those things to do. When I say it was a challenging period of my life, believe me, it was, especially because I was doing it with so much uncertainty. I was putting so much in and not being sure that I would still be eventually able to travel, but I was doing it anyways, and I just kept hoping and hoping that a miracle would happen of some sort and the embassies will open. Sometime in September, we got a notification that the embassies were going to open. I think it was September 28th, if I remember correctly. They said that the embassy will have dates open at 9 a.m. on September 28th, and so we should all get ready. My dear friends, at 8:50 a.m., like almost all the slots were booked. I was so glad that I woke up early and went on their website early enough to choose dates. But anyways, I eventually got to pick a date for I think October or November. I don't remember the exact dates now. And I was a bit comforted that okay, I would be able to still have I would still be able to travel to begin my program fully. And then also the information that was passed by the Department of Homeland Security, I think they moved it to spring semester. So they say if you can make it by the spring semester, which is January, you would not have to defer your admission again. So I was like, okay, great. And that was September. October came, and then in Nigeria there was the NSAS protest. It seemed dark and gloomy again. It didn't seem like the embassies were eventually going to keep to their word, because there was so much chaos, there was so much that was going on, and it was a very terrifying time. I remember not being able to get access to Wi-Fi just because they restricted internet, and my classmates were wondering. I was supposed to have meetings and I couldn't attend my classes. My classmates, somebody it's so funny. I remember sometimes when I have a challenge with Wi-Fi, not sometimes, I mean the first time that something like that happened, and my teammate was asking me if I could go into a coffee shop to get Wi-Fi. And I was like, no, we don't have that here. We don't. They couldn't understand why or how you would go to a coffee shop and not get Wi-Fi. But I need to explain to them that, first, I live in Ikorodu. Second, there's no coffee shop. 3, coffee shop that you see, there's no Wi-Fi. It's not free. And again, it's midnight. So how? Well, anyways, I had the most understanding teammates in my first year. It was so brilliant. It was so beautiful. At first, due to those cultural differences and them not just seeing, like, understanding some of the things I say, like, oh, there's no power. Do you understand? There's no Wi-Fi. Really? How? Well, along the line, they understood that, okay, this girl is not joking, like, she's actually serious. And then they made a lot of provisions for me. So in some scenarios where maybe we have a class to 4 p.m. Arizona time, and then we were supposed to have a team meeting between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Arizona time, which is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Nigerian time. We had so many of those, but they tried to ensure that sometimes we'll have the meetings before class, and they inconvenienced themselves to make that happen for myself and my other team member who was in Pakistan. So sometimes we'll have meetings before the class. So when class starts by 8 a.m., we'll be meeting probably between 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. to like 7:45 a.m., which was my 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. just before class starts. They made all those sacrifices just to ensure that we had the best experience, even though we were participating remotely. So I had my entire first semester remote from Nigeria, which was August to December. And so the MBA program is 2 years. And in those 2 years, there are 4 semesters and 8 quarters. So in a year is 2 semesters. In a semester is 2 quarters. So the semester that I had between August and December had 2 quarters. That's Q1 and Q2. My first semester was like the most challenging semester till date, majorly because I was just trying to get into the system, trying to understand what I was doing, and alongside the uncertainty of whether I was even going to eventually be able to make it. I was dealing with time difference, the pressure to defer, imposter syndrome. It is real, guys, it is real. If you want to know how I dealt with that, just drop a comment, right? This video is not for this. If you want to know how I dealt with the challenges that I faced while starting my program, just comment below and I'll do something about it. There was a difficulty with understanding the content of what I was being taught. So in my first semester, I know we did statistics, financial accounting, managerial economics, strategy, competitive advantage, leadership and teamwork, marketing, managerial finance, career coaching, managerial communications, managerial finance, logistics and supply chain. So those courses, and they were compulsory in the first semester. All the courses there are core courses, so it allows you to do a wide variety of courses regardless of what your background is, and then as you continue in the program, then you can begin to choose electives based on what your concentration is in the MBA program. I had a difficult time even grasping what was being taught. I had a tough time hearing the accents. You know how when they say a Nigerian moves and to the say to the abroad, when a Nigerian moves abroad and the people that they speak with can't really hear them, and every time they're asking, that was not the case for me. People could hear me. I think I was a bit articulate, but it was now the reverse. Like I couldn't hear them. Like people are talking and I'm like, pardon, me go, like accent was American, Mexican, Indian, Pakistani, different types of accents, and I was just like, whoa. First I need to hear your accent, next I need to understand the content of what you're even teaching me. It was tough. One trick I played with hearing and understanding accents was I went on YouTube and I looked for YouTubers that had similar accents to the ones that I was hearing, and then I'll play their videos and listen in 1.5, 1.75. And somehow that helped me just to understand, to catch things faster. It trained my brain to actually hear things faster. Now I have like a better grasp of what people are saying when they're talking, and I don't have to act like I heard when I did not hear, or ask them so many times, or what did you say? Anyways, I got my F1 visa approved early November, and I was able to go back to the office and actually resign. Spoke to my partner and let him know what was happening, and it was a sad time. It was a very emotional time for me, actually leaving PwC, the people that I have come to recognize as friends and colleagues. It was hard, but I did leave, and I'm glad that I left. At the time I left, second week of December, I packed my bags and I flew to the United States to start my new life. My spring semester, which is the second semester, started in January, and that ran from January to May. So you know how I said a semester has 2 quarters, so in the spring semester we had Q3 and Q4. Then after Q4 I had my internship in the summer, and then came back to Arizona to have my 3rd semester, which was my 2nd year. That started in August of 2021. And now, guess who is in her final semester and her final quarter? Me. I would say that moving to the United States in the spring semester, it really helped me with balance. I didn't have the challenge of settling in. I had a classmate or a schoolmate, a 2nd year, who was willing to split costs with me, so I settled in quickly and easily. I could now focus on actually getting my grades right. I'd gotten an internship already, so I wasn't like recruiting. My goal when I moved in was just to get my grades right and actually build the connections that I was hoping to build in my MBA program, because the honest truth was, in my first semester I didn't have the bandwidth to do anything aside actually trying to understand what was really going on. So all of the networking and building rapport with my classmates, I had little or no time to do that, especially because of the time difference. I remember that I was not even on social media. Like I deleted all my social media apps. Like I could not even deal. Like I didn't have the bandwidth to do anything else apart from trying to build a case, understand it, ensure that my tests were right. And it was kind of a shock to me that the grading system was different from how it was in Nigeria. So here A is from 90. In fact, A minus is from 90. So A minus is 90 to 92.99. A is 93 to 97, and then A plus is 98 to 100. So in my first semester, I think I was just having B's and like A minuses, and I think I just had a couple of A's, and I was like, no, I'm an A student, what is this? So like in my spring semester, I ramped up efforts, and I saw that actually being here physically helped me, because if I had a challenge with something, I could speak up to my classmates around me. I could easily just ask somebody after class, oh, what is this? We could discuss. I could visit the professor during office hours and just talk with them. I mean, that was available when I was remote, but the time difference didn't really favor me. So it was tougher, it was harder to do that. And I was glad that I was able to build those meaningful connections and rapport with my classmates in the spring, and just meet people physically. I remember in my first week of seeing people, I mistook people I mistook names. Before online, I've seen them on Zoom and I'd seen their faces without masks. So when I saw people physically, I'll be like, hey Ramia, and the person's like, oh no, this Krupa. Oh, I'm sorry. Because the person had a mask on and I hadn't seen them with the mask. But that was just like in my first week. After that, I could tell who was who and then continue conversations with them. So going into my second year, that started in August, as I said, I was more confident starting my program in the second year. I had time. In fact, I came back to social media. I was like, and if you don't follow me on social media, I would link my Instagram handle here and here, so you can see my fun life and the things that I get to do outside of studying and making YouTube videos. So I was more confident in my second year. I had experienced corporate America because I had worked for 3 months. I kind of had a clearer sense of direction of what I wanted to do. I had established, tons of relationships and networks. I also had less course loads. So like I said, you don't have too many compulsory courses as you progress. You get to choose what courses that you like, and you don't even have classes every day. So I could have like classes 3 times in a week as opposed to having classes every day of the week in my first year. In terms of the benefits and the value that I have gotten from being in the MBA program, I'll just highlight a few, and I would definitely, if people want to know more about this, just comment below. I'll definitely speak more about it. In terms of, first, it's the professional and personal network that you get to build. It's massive, and you will not know until you are in the program. You're exposed to a ton of alumni. In fact, if you go to a school like ASU, you are exposed to the alumni from different programs. So you get to be connected with people all around the world who have done different things. They don't even necessarily have to be, MBAs. And you can just build rapport with them. You can just build rapport with them off of the fact that you also went to Arizona State or you also went to any other school. That's why many people want to go to big schools, because the alumni network is huge and there's so many things you can tap from being connected to alumni like that. Personally, it makes you more culturally aware, right? You are in a class where there are Indians, Pakistani, Taiwanese, Chinese, different people from different walks of life who have different backgrounds. You are able to immerse yourself in their cultures and just understand their perspective to life and the things that they have also been through. You also get to add that to your own, personal experience. So it's huge. The personal and professional network in the MBA program is something that is very valuable for every MBA student or every intending MBA. Secondly, I would say that the MBA allows you to reflect. It's a deeply reflective time in your life, especially because for some people it's transitionary. People are, trying to move from one career to the other. They move from one geography to the other, or one industry to another. And with the time that you have, you are able to actually sit down and decide what you consider important for yourself. You are able to use the learnings that you have received in class to have a bigger picture for yourself. There's so much internal work that you get to do from just being a student, from just sitting in the classroom with other bright minds. You don't know it until you experience it, and that is the truth. Like, until you experience sitting down in that kind of atmosphere and you are reflecting and you are seeing for yourself what you want to do and what you want to be. I think that is one massive thing that I have benefited from the MBA program, actually reflecting and trying to use the learnings that you have gained from your courseworks and from your classmates to map out something for yourself. Thirdly, I would say is the actual learnings, the content of what you are being taught. Now, the MBA is not just an academic program, and that's something you should know. If you're going to be in the MBA program, it's fully experiential. But the academics is something, right? I know that in 2 years, it's going to be 2 years in May, I have done more assignments than 4 years of my undergrad. Like, I kid you not, I have done more assignments, and this is not to scare you. I've also had more fun than I've had in the past 5 years combined. In fact, at my spring breaks, the break between quarter 7 and quarter 8, I traveled with some of my classmates to Mexico, and I even like documented that, but I haven't shared it yet. If you'd like to see it, please drop a comment below and I would do the editing work for you. Editing is a lot of work. I don't know if this is what you want to see here, but if you want to see that, comment and I will share it, okay? And about the assignments bits, it's not to scare anyone though. If you got in, you are capable, you are more than able. If I did it, you can do it. You can do it too. So you're well equipped for it and you can definitely do it. It opens you up to a new world of learning. There are so many cases you are able to intellectually discuss cases, to critique them, to provide your own perspective in a way that's articulate, in a way that people will see you and understand you and even aspire to be like you, right? There's a lot more that I want to say about like my experience, about the value that this MBA has given me, but I wonder if this is something you want to know. If this is it, drop it down in the comments. In this my final days in the MBA program, I am a lot more intentional about the goals that I set for myself. So starting the program, I wrote out some personal goals and some things that I aim to achieve, and as I see that the clock is winding down, I'm a lot more intentional about those things, right? Because I'm like, where did all that time go? Like, where did it go to? And this is why I'm also sharing content like this out here, so that anyone who is also trying to be on this path can be aware of what's possible, can use my stories and my experiences as leverage for them. I hope you've learned something from watching this video today. If there's anything that you want me to talk more about, please drop them in the comments as usual. If you watched this video to this point, please like this video. It's a way for me to know how many people have actually viewed my video to the end, because many people just click on it and then they don't continue watching up until the end. So please like this video. It also tells YouTube that I'm doing something right and shows my content to more people who want to know what I'm talking about. All right, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and to also share my videos with your network. I'm so grateful that you're always here to watch my videos and to support me. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in my next video. Bye.